everyone. Welcome to the session on drafting of women's basic skirt block and basic sleeve block. In this session, we will learn and practice the steps in drafting a women's basic skirt block and basic sleeve block. We'll also learn through demonstration how to use tools like French curve and hip curve in preparing the draft. We'll also see how body measurements relate to a basic skirt block and basic sleeve block. To start with, it is necessary to have an understanding of what basic blocks are. As we know, in garment manufacturing, paper patterns of various parts of a garment are used to cut the fabric. The cut fabric pieces are stitched together to create a complete garment. Pattern is prepared for each individual part of the garment. For example, for an upper garment such as shirt, which has a front, back, sleeve, cuff, collar or pocket, a separate pattern will be created for each of these components. One of the ways of creating these patterns is through the use of basic blocks. Basic blocks or slopers are considered to be the foundation of all other patterns since these are adapted to create patterns of different designs. Basic blocks are drafted to a specific set of body measurements and are developed without any design features. They conform to the actual body shape and include only the minimum wearing ease. The basic blocks are basic bodice front, basic bodice back, basic skirt front, basic skirt back, and basic sleeve. For upper garments, basic front bodice, basic back bodice, and sleeve are used. Basic skirt front and back are used for creating the patterns of lower garments. For making flat patterns of different garment designs, these basic blocks are traced and then further modified according to the design requirements of the garment. In today's session, we will learn the steps of drafting the front and back of basic skirt block and basic sleeve block. For making basic blocks, you can either use your own measurements or use the measurements given in the standard size chart. For today's session, I'll be using standard measurements. So here in this basic skirt block, we have drawn the working area, the grid lines of the working area. We've marked the hip line and we've marked the position of the darts as well. We'll learn how to draw the waistline and side seam line using a hip curve. This is a hip curve. See, while placing the hip curve, you need to take care that hip curve also has a straight edge and a curved edge. So wherever you need a curved line, you place the curved edge of the hip curve on that line. So for the waistline, you have to basically join the center front point with the edge of the side seam. So it will be placed like this. The straight edge would be placed at the center front and then the raised point will be matched with the K dash point. And this is how a waist line is made on a basic skirt block. Similarly, for the back side, you keep the straight edge of the French curve, hip curve towards the center of the skirt and match the curved portion with this point and mark the waistline. The curve should start from this point and it should merge into the waistline. Similarly, for making the side seam, again you will use a hip curve and keeping the curved portion on this side, and the hip curve should be placed in such a manner that the line, the curve has to start from this point and it has to merge into the center line. So you will keep the hip curve in such a way that the curve starts from this point and it touches the center line here a little above the hip line and it merges into the line. See, like this. And since now that since you know the exact position, you turn the hip curve and use the same position for drawing the other side seam. Okay, so this is how the side seam of a skirt is drawn. Now we'll mark the darts. Now we will draw the darts. We've already marked the dart positions. The dart positions are marked. I'll tell you how they are marked. You take the center point of the waistline and that's the position of your first dart. And then you have to locate the midpoint between the first dart position and the side seam. And that's the position of your second dart. The same is followed for the back side also. That means you start from the center back till the side seam and the midpoint of it is the position of the center dart and the midpoint between the center and the side seam is the position for your second dart. The front darts are longer than the back darts. The center dart of the front is 14 centimeters long. So you have to draw a perpendicular which is 14 centimeters long. Please remember that this is not drawn as a straight line. This line has to be perpendicular to the waistline. And therefore you would find that these lines are little, slanting, but they have to be perpendicular to the waistline. So when they are stitched in a garment, they will appear straight. So similarly, these dart lines positions are marked. The center front dart is 14 centimeters long. The front side dart is 12 centimeters long. At the back side, the center back center dart is 12 centimeters long and the back side dart is 10 centimeters long. To decide on the width of these darts, what you need to do is, using a curved ruler or a tape measure, you measure the distance between these 2 points. That is, you measure the waistline on both the sides. Okay. So here it is coming out to be 23 centimeters. So each of these waistlines is 23 centimeters. What you need to do is take your, your round waist measurement and divide it by 4. That means take 1/4 of round waist measurement and you subtract this distance from the round waist measurement. So this will give you, the allowance has to be distributed in the form of darts. So the 1/4 of round waist measurement that we have used for demonstration is 16 centimeters. So the round waist is 64 centimeters. The 1/4 of 64 is 16 centimeters. And the waistline is 23 centimeters. So the difference between the two is that of 7 centimeters. So that means that 7 centimeters will be divided in 2 darts. So what we'll do is we will take 3.5 centimeters of darts. So we'll have 3.5 centimeters as the dart width for both the darts in front as well as back. So for making a dart width of 3.5 centimeters, we will take half of 3.5 on either side. We'll mark it and we'll draw the dart. So I'll show you how the dart is made. You can, you just need to join the dart leg, this point with the end of the dart, and join these 2 points in a straight line. Now this is one way of marking the dart. For skirt, you may also draw an inward curve while making the darts. So I'll show you how the inward curve darts are drawn for a snug fit. So you keep the French curve in such a manner that the straight edge is coming is joining the end of the dart, and this is how, and using the same edge you turn it around and make the other dart leg. So you can see the difference between these 2 darts. You can use either a straight line dart or an inward curve dart leg. So similarly, you do the dart legs on the other side also. Please remember that you use only one kind of dart. Either you do the straight line dart or you can do the inward curve dart. The measurements required for making basic skirt block are length of the skirt, which is measured from the waist till the knee level, which in our chart is 50 centimeters. The round waist measurement is measured around the narrowest part of the waist, which in our chart is 64 centimeters. The round hip measurement is measured around the widest part below the waist, which in our chart is 84 centimeters. Another important measurement in the skirt block is the distance from the waist to hip measurement, which is usually 19 to 20 centimeters. We are going to use 19 centimeters for this session. We'll be preparing the basic skirt draft with 2 darts. The first step is to calculate the dimensions of the drafting area. Length of the working area will be equal to length of the skirt, which is 50 centimeters in this case. To calculate the width of the working area, you will add 3 centimeters to half of round hip measurement, which in our case will be 42 plus 3, which equals to 45 centimeters. So length of the working area is 50 centimeters and the width is 45 centimeters. The image on your screen shows the complete drafting of basic skirt blocks. The front and back part are drafted together in the same grid. After completion, the front and back parts are cut into separate pieces. Now, in a basic skirt block, you mark the center back and the center front. You label the hip line. You write the name of the block the front and the back side of it, and this completes your basic skirt draft. Now cutting is done. It started from the center line. You cut on this line and separate the front and back. And while cutting, you have to take care that since this waistline has two darts, the darts have to be folded before cutting on this line. So the side seam is a straight line, so it will be cut on the marked line. But when it comes to cutting the waistline, you need to first fold on one dart leg and keep it on the other dart leg. Similarly, for the other dart also, fold on one dart leg and place it on the other. Okay, this is how it is done. Now we have to cut on this line, but please see that if there are irregular edges, you have to first true it using a French curve. Since it's a smaller curve, we are going to make a smooth curve, blending the curve into this line, and now we will cut on this line. And when you open it, you will see these triangular shapes which are normal to have, and this is how the cutting has to be done. And you follow the same procedure for cutting the front side of the skirt. Please remember that the folding is done towards the center. So that means you will fold on the outer leg and then place it on the leg which is towards the center. This requires a little patience, but you have to make a smooth fold, and even for an inward curved dart leg, you have to follow the same procedure. This curve has to be blended properly. And this is how the basic skirt block front and back. We'll now see how this drafting is done step by step. First of all, a rectangular grid is drawn using the calculated dimensions in which the skirt block would be drafted. The length A to C and B to D will be 50 centimeters each, and the width C to D and A to B will be 45 centimeters each. Just remember that these dimensions are based on the body measurements that we use for making the draft. In the next step, we will locate the midpoints on the width A to B and C to D and join these points in a straight line E to F. We will locate the hip line on the length A to C and B to D. The hip line will be marked 19 centimeters below AB line. 19 centimeters is the distance between waist and hip line. Mark the points as G and H and join them in a straight line. This is the hip line. The left side of the block would be used to draw the back of the skirt, and the right side of the block would be used to mark the front of the skirt. Next, we will draw the waistline. From E, mark 2.5 centimeters on either side. Mark the points J and K. J to J dash and K to K dash are equal to 1.5 centimeters and marked perpendicular on the AB line. Make smooth waistline curves from J dash to A and K dash to B using a hip curve. Okay, for the basic sleeve block, the length of the sleeve, we've taken full length as the for making the block. You can even make the basic sleeve block on a shorter sleeve length. And you take the length as your sleeve length, whatever is the sleeve length, you take the working area length also the same. And the width, as I said, it is calculated, it is 17.5 centimeters as per the measurements that we have taken for our demonstration. The distance between the top and this point is the armhole depth, which is 1/4 of your bodice length or 1/8 of bust measurement. For our demonstration purpose, this is coming out to be 9.5 centimeters. So we've drawn a point, we've marked a point 9.5 centimeters below this point, and we've connected the center point with this point in a straight line. Okay. This line is divided in 4 equal parts, and we've numbered them 1, 2, and 3. From 1, you have to take a perpendicular. So this line has to make a 90-degree angle with this line. Okay, so it is taken 0.5 centimeters up from point number 2. This perpendicular is drawn 1 centimeter up, and from point 3 a perpendicular is drawn 0.5 centimeters down. Now we have to connect these points in two separate curves. One curve would form the back of the sleeve. The other curve would be the front sleeve. So as we know that the front curve of the sleeve is deeper than the back curve. So first we will make the back curve. So while making the curve of the sleeve, please remember that this is the center of the sleeve and this is being kept on fold. So actually we are working on 2 layers, and the center part, when you start making the curve, the first 1 centimeter is kept straight and you start making the curve after that. So basically for the back curve, you have to connect this point with the top point of point 2. Let me mark these. This is 1 dash, this is 2 dash, and this is 3 dash at the towards the down side of point 3. Okay, so basically you have to connect, first of all, for the back curve, you have to start from this line and connect 2 dash and go straight to the last point. So what you can do is you can either draw a freehand curve and then through it with a French curve, or you can directly start with the French curve. So I am going to directly start with the French curve, and since the French curve is not long enough to make a complete dart, so we are going to make it in smaller installments. So first we will connect this top portion with the two dash point, and now we'll continue this line to touch the end point. So this is how, and if there is any, if you see any points or anything, you can just blend it to make a smooth curve. This is the back curve. For the front curve, you have to start again from the center point, touch the A dash point first. This is the direction that we are going to follow. We start with this point. We touch point 1 dash, then take it through to 3 dash and then take it at the end. So we start with, we'll see if we can connect these 2 points in one go. Okay, so here we are able to, so we've drawn a curve, starts from here, it's touching through 1 dash, going via point 2, and then it's just ending in a stroke. Now we'll start the curve from point number 2. We'll try to connect these 3 points in a curve. We'll have to see, how the French curve has to be placed. So what we'll do is, we'll just take this line forward and join it with point 3 dash and connect it at the bottom. So we see these 2 separate curves being formed. You can use French curve है ना एक और. Okay, so sometimes there are different kinds of French curves which are available. So you may want to try, using a bigger French curve, which directly connects the various points. So you will have to see how it has to be placed so that you are able to make the curve in one go. Okay. So I have used a bigger curve and it has given me a direct, it has connected all the points of the back armhole in one go, and therefore I have used this one to make the back curve. And for the front armhole, since it's been done in smaller bits and pieces, so a French curve has given me good results. I'm just doing it with a black pen so that the curve is clearly visible. Okay, so these are the curves. So now I will show you how the sleeve block is cut. See the side seam, for the side seams, both the layers of paper are cut together. So we'll start with the they have to be pressed and kept together so that we get a smooth cut. Okay, now we have to cut these two curves separately. So first we'll start with the back curve, back armhole curve. We'll cut the back armhole curve on both the layers of paper. Okay, and the front curve, the front armhole curve is cut on a single layer only. Make sure that the center part is coming in a smooth curve, as you can see. So this is your basic sleeve block. Here both the front and the back are coming together in one block. You just label it. You write the name of the graft, basic sleeve block. The deeper curve is the front side, so this is the front and this is the back. You may draw the grain line also, but normally grain line is marked in the patterns, but we'll still in the middle of the draft, you may draw a green line, and this completes your basic sleeve block. Now this basic sleeve block would be used to create the patterns of other sleeve designs. Make a smooth side seam from J' to I and repeat the same for K' to I using a hip curve. In the next step, we will draw the darts. There are two darts on either side in the front and back. The front darts are longer than the back darts. Also, the two darts closer to the side seam are always shorter than the ones close to the center front line. First, locate the dart positions halfway between A, J' and B, K'. Mark them L and M respectively. Square down 12 centimeters at L for back dart and 14 centimeters at M for the front dart. The second set of darts is located in the center of J', and K' to O. Mark them N and O respectively. Again, square down 10 centimeters at N and 12 centimeters at O. These dart lines are perpendicular to the curves A to J' and B to K'. The dart width is calculated by subtracting 1/4 of round waist measurement from A to J' and B to K'. Distribute the difference into the two darts on either side. You may draw a smooth inward curve for dart legs for snug fitting. Mark center front and center back on the center lines. Cut from the center line E to F and separate front and back skirt block. Now we will learn the steps of drafting the basic sleeve block. The measurements required for making the basic sleeve block are length of the sleeve, which is measured from the lowest shoulder point to the wrist bone, which in our chart is 58 centimeters. The upper round arm measurement is taken around the widest section of the upper arm located above the elbow, which in our case is 30 centimeters. The round wrist measurement is measured around the wrist bone, to which 6.5 centimeters is added as ease as an allowance to fit over the hand, which makes the measurement in our chart as 23 centimeters. The first step is to calculate the dimensions of the drafting area. Length of the working area will be equal to length of the sleeve, which is 58 centimeters in this case. To calculate the width of the working area, add 2.5 centimeters ease to the half of upper round arm measurement. In this case, the half of upper round arm is 15 centimeters, and if we add 2.5 centimeters to it, it comes to 17.5 centimeters. The size of the working area would be 58 centimeters length and 17.5 centimeters width. We have to remember that the center line of the working area would be kept on fold. The image on your screen shows the completed drafting of basic sleeve block. The front and back part are drafted together in the same grid. After completion, the front and back parts are cut into separate pieces. We'll now see how this drafting is done step by step. First of all, a rectangular grid is drawn using the calculated dimensions in which the sleeve block would be drafted. The length A to B and D to C will be 58 centimeters each, and the width A to D and B to C will be 17.5 centimeters each. Just remember that these dimensions are based on the body measurements that we use for making the draft. The center line of the working area is kept on fold. Point E is marked on the line C to D. The distance between C to E is equal to 1/4 of bodice length or 1/8 of bust measurement. The bodice length in our size chart is 38 centimeters. So 1/4 of 38 is 9.5 centimeters. Therefore, the distance between C to E is 9.5 centimeters. Join A to E in a straight line. Divide this line into 4 equal parts. Mark points 1, 2 and 3. Draw perpendiculars from these points, such as from 1 to 1' is 0.5 centimeters upwards, 2 to 2 dash is 1 centimeters upwards, and 3 to 3 dash is 0.5 centimeters downwards. Join the points A to 1 dash, to 2, to 3 dash, to E in a curved line as shown in the figure. This is the front curve of the sleeve. Join the points A to do 2 dash to E by a curved line as shown in the figure. This is the back portion of the sleeve. To draw the side seam of the sleeve, mark point F. Keep B to F equal to half of round sleeve, which is the lower round measurement, which is equal to 11.5 centimeters. Join E and F in a straight line. This is the draft of the basic plain sleeve. This sleeve can be used as foundation for all other types of. I'm sure you will be able to practice drafting the basic skirt and sleeve block based on the instructions given in today's session. Hope you have found today's session useful. Thank you.